Today I'm going to cover 3 underrated prospects for the 2023 NFL draft class that will help you in Dynasty Fantasy Football in one way or another. These guys aren't hiding under a rock. We kind of know about them. We've been talking about them in draft circles all year, all last couple years, and now it's time to look at their values. And these guys are kind of at a discount and guys that you can catch on the cheap. The first player we're going to talk about here is McIntosh from Georgia, running back. This dude's explosive. He's dangerous with the ball in his hands. He's fun to watch. Had 774 rushing yards this year, averaged 5.4 yards per carry, 3.25 yards after contact per attempt. He's solid in the passing game. This is where you're going to love him in fantasy. Caught 41 balls for 510 yards, 2.33 yards per route ran, which is very high for a running back. Solid for a wide receiver. Very high for a running back because they catch a lot of balls behind the line of scrimmage. Averaged 12.4 yards after the catch per reception. That's immaculate. Usually around the 10 range is considered really, really good. 12 is about as high as you usually see it. That's up there with any other running back you'll see. This means that he's very explosive with the ball in his hands. If he has space, he's going to eat it up. He's going to gobble up space, get you yards after the catch. He's dangerous, which could lead to more volume in the passing game, which should if he does this at the NFL level. Saw 29 snaps in the slot this year. He also had 14 snaps lined up out wide, so he's also pretty diverse. We saw this against Ohio State, him taking that long run, and we've been seeing this off and on throughout his career. On top of that, he's good in the running game as well. He can run between the tackles a bit. And when he gets daylight in the second level, watch out for him because he's a threat to house it anywhere. Good size, 6'1", 210 pounds. Burst and speed for days. Good size adjusted athleticism all the way around the spectrum. Hands are solid. Hands are good. And when he catches the ball, he's looking to get upfield. He's looking to take it to the house. Dangerous in the open field. He's probably one of the most dangerous running backs we've seen in the last few years when we talk about getting the ball in space, getting the ball in the second level, just the threat of being able to score. He's not the fastest guy. He's just really good at getting from A to B, accelerating, and also having that size while being able to catch the ball and get upfield. He can also be a lead back at the next level because he can run between the tackles a bit. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. This is going to be a hyper-athletic PPR back that you're going to want in fantasy. And he's going to be going at a discount because there's a slew of other running backs that are getting bumped up in value. Let's see if he comes out for the draft. Let's see where he's going to be ranked at among other draft aficionados. But I'm looking for him to get a rise throughout the offseason. People are going to look back at his body of work. People are going to look back at the highlights. People are going to look back at his size-adjusted athleticism, and they're going to bump him up. But right now, he's very underrated. I have a wide receiver who's very underrated compared to what he was doing during his freshman and sophomore season before he got hurt. You probably already guessed it, but it's Keisha Booty. And we're back in business. He's coming back in the draft. This is kind of old news. This came out like last week. But he's re-entered the draft, and we're back in business with Booty. A lot of good things to say about this guy, especially when you look at his freshman season where he went off at the end of the season to solidify his status as one of the emerging wide receivers in college football. Started off his sophomore year very strong and then got hurt, missed the rest of the season. And then this year was that year where we just had to watch him fill things out after coming back from that injury. But he really turned it on at the end of the year. He had 9 touchdowns in 5 games in 2021 during his sophomore year. And in 2020 as a freshman, he had 526 yards and 4 touchdowns in his last 3 games. Broke out as a freshman. So we got the age 18 breakout with a 23.54% market share. When you look on tape, you're going to notice the hands because they're strong. He plucks the ball out of the air easily. Gets upfield quick. He's looking to eat up yards after the catch. He's also explosive. He can make plays over his head. He can make one-handed grabs. He's solid in that department. He can also take over games, create separation with his route running, and he's very fluid. How he comes back, if he can revert back to what he was as a freshman, as a sophomore, and develop from there, is what we're going to be looking for. And at his current value, you're looking at like a second-round pick right now in rookie drafts. Man, you're going to take shots on that all day right now, especially if he gets draft capital. That's something you want to see considering this 2022 season that we saw. We might see him slide, we may not. We may see him get pumped up, but I can't guess on that because we see this every year. Players go up and down the charts, and really you just got to watch the talent, watch the metrics, and just go from there and just hope the draft capital comes. But if he gets draft capital and he's fallen to the second round, he is going to be underrated too much, and you're going to have to get him if he falls that far. He'd be the value in this wide receiver class if he does. If he goes to a good situation with decent draft capital, bump him up the board, pay up for him, and I like him compared to a lot of other wide receivers in this draft class because of what we saw. There's also a chance that this injury is something that impacts him long term, but I don't know. We don't know. The thing is, this is like the George Pickens of our class, where he had that injured season, that created a wide receiver discount. Now we're going to get a wide receiver discount on Booty, and sometimes that discount's what you really want to get on these wide receivers who have this upside, because these wide receivers right now, the landscape here, wide receiver is probably one of the most replaceable positions in football. It's turning into that because there's so many good wide receivers. I joke around and I say there's about 80 to 100 wide receiver twos. Well, it's because the wide receiver position has bubbled up. And if you play the position from a week-to-week standpoint, if you have a good slew of wide receivers, a good camp of wide receivers on your roster that you can move up and down and make deals with or throw in and out of your lineup and just play the matchups with, you're still going to be very good. Of course, you want those top-end guys. Of course, you want your Justin Jefferson. But also, you're going to have wide receivers all over the landscape that just pop on and off that you can move around your lineup, move around the trade market, and capitalize on. And if you can catch a guy here at a discount like Keisha Booty, that's going to help you out a lot, especially if he hits. And in the second round, the running backs are still good, but they're also tearing off a little bit. And you got a guy like this who has an age 18, breakout age, blew up as a freshman, blew up as a sophomore, and then just has that question mark with the injury, some unsteadiness in 2022, but you saw it coming back at the end of 2022. This might be that diamond in the rough that you get in the second round of rookie drafts here in 2023. I got another running back for you. I don't know where we're going to end up drafting this guy up. It could be higher than expected. It could be lower than expected. But I really want to talk about him today. Big Draft's been talking about this guy a good bit, and I understand. Rashawn Johnson, running back from Texas. The other running back from Texas. Big boy, 6'2", 223 pounds. Rushed for 545 yards and 5 touchdowns this season. Created 45 missed tackles. Between him and Bijan Robinson, these two created about 150 missed tackles between them, which is an impeccable number if you think about this. He averaged 4.28 yards after contact per attempt. The thing about him is he has decent size adjusted speed, decent size adjusted athleticism, and the thing when you watch him on tape, you notice it. You notice him being a bigger back, and then once he starts getting to that second level, once he gets to that edge, you see a little bit of pop in his step. He's also very powerful, and for his size, he moves laterally very well, and a lot of people are talking him up. This guy can bring the boom at the point of contact. He's also a very assertive runner, and I like watching that out of him. He was originally a quarterback. That's why he rolled in. He was actually one of the top quarterbacks out of Texas, and the thing is, he transferred over to being a running back. And the thing about quarterbacks is they know a lot about the systems. They know a lot about what the other positions are supposed to be doing. So he's got to be a very cerebral athlete as well to be able to be considered a quarterback prospect at that high a level, to go into a big-time Power 5 school and still get selected that high. So that's something you want to look at. I think he could be a great play in a sneaky situation. He could go up boards for the NFL during the draft season. There's a lot of talk about that, but I don't want to speculate on draft capital because I can see it going all over the place with this guy, but he does have some goods. He does have some things in his game that I can see NFL teams liking. Like we saw Dameon Pierce last year, got up to the 4th round, came in, and once he got opportunity, took advantage of that. That's something you could see with Rashawn Johnson. If he gets drafted somewhere in the middle of the draft, gets a chance to get some opportunity, you could see him catch fire because you could definitely see that out of him. brings a lot of boom at the point of contact. He's physical. He does a lot of good things well. He's assertive. He can get yards after contact. There's a lot of things coaches are going to like about this dude, and I am very excited about him. And plus, he's going to be a value in Dynasty unless he goes to a grand situation. But he's going to be a value. Second, third round pick in rookie drafts. Somewhere around there. Really just depends on where he goes in the NFL draft, who he gets drafted by, his situation. But this draft is stacked at running back, and I'm excited about that. This is a year where you just go nuts on the running back position. You stack up and you get ready for winter because this running back class is going to shift the NFL on its head when it comes to the landscape at the running back position. The running back reset is coming, and you better get prepared. And the best way to do it is invest in the young running backs in the 2023 NFL draft class and then get some in the 24 draft class next year. But that's just my 2 cents. I want to hear yours in the comments below. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. I'm here to help you out all off season long with your Dynasty teams, getting you ready for rookie drafts. And then in season, I'm helping you out with your lineups and then thinking outside the box, trying to find you guys off the waiver wire. But I want to thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.